your company irrigates some chemicals on the fields, and that's why people had headache or stomach problems or something like that.
Danish genetics is the best in the world, so that's also what we want to be, the best in the world.
Oh, we don't want anything in our territory.
So it's very important for us to enter into a dialogue to ensure that we get the right support before we start anywhere.
Came here to develop business, but found happiness.
Yes.
They found here a wife.
Ukraine is truly special. Yeah, so Danish happiness is maybe a weird thing to explain. You should always be hungry.
Developing a business in Ukraine in these difficult times is a serious challenge for anyone, and for companies with foreign investments, it is a double challenge because you have to adapt to both Ukrainian realities and the Ukrainian mentality. GoodValley Ukraine has 9 pig farms in the Prykarpattia region and is also the second largest pig producer in Ukraine. So how does this Danish happiness fit in with our realities? Today I have Kasper Torup-Villadsen, CEO of GoodValley Ukraine, in my program Openly.
Kasper, добрий день.
Добрий день.
First of all, thank you for agreeing to this conversation. And my first question, it seems that GoodValley Ukraine was able to increase its production capacity during the war. In a few words, how are you doing today?
Thank you very much, Oksana. Thanks a lot for having Good Valley, being able to speak, and thanks a lot for having me. Yes, we have been able to increase our presence during the war. We are an arable and pig production company, so we are farmers in Ukraine, even though some of us come from Denmark. We are 100% based in Ukraine, so we produce in Ukraine and we sell in Ukraine. During the war, we have been able to open up 2 new farms where we are producing more pigs, and more pigs, that means more protein for the Ukrainian population and the Ukrainian soldiers.
How do you maintain your energy stability in your business? Because enemy attack our energy system from day to day, consciously and deliberately try to destroy it at all.
So the first thing we did when the war was escalated, that was of course to ensure that our people were as okay as they could be. Secondly, that was to look into our energy sustainability, to ensure that our energy production was sustained. First and foremost, we produce biogas ourselves, so we have heat and electricity which we sell, but that's part of our business model, that we produce a lot of the energy we have for ourselves and for the communities around us. Secondly, we purchased generators for all the farms. That means that all our farms and all our production systems, they can run without the grid being up and running. We can switch on our generators, and that's what we do together with the local communities. If there is a need of energy, then we have the possibility to run on generators for a long period of time. On top of that, then we have also ensured that we have slurry cooling. That's a little bit a cooling system on our farms where it runs on slurry. So we do not necessarily take energy from the grid at those times. We heat up the farms by using the slurry at the farms.
Kasper, you know, I talking time to time with different executives of different companies. And now the main and the most big problem of every business is the lack of staff, is a lack of personnel. What is your situation now?
We can for sure echo that. We also see that as a big challenge for us. We are 616 employees as of today, including 25 heroes who are currently in the war, so to speak. But getting new employees, that's of course a challenge. 2/3 of our colleagues, that's male colleagues. So there is obviously an inherent risk that they at some point will go to war. On top of that, then when we have open positions and the like, then it is more challenging than it was before to get the right candidates. That is part of the climate, but that's just something we need to deal with and take as a challenge, so to speak.
A lot of men go to protect our state, women go abroad, try to protect their families, so situation is not good. But what vacancies exactly do you need now?
So we need a lot of different people. Again, we are a fairly large organization, so we have a lot of production colleagues, we have people working in the stables, we have people driving tractors, and that's experts. It's not just coming from the street and doing that from day one. You need to be skilled, and you need to ensure that you are equipped to do these things. So we cannot just take random people. We are having highly qualified people to do these things. On top of that, then we have a lot of generalists in terms of finance, HR, logistics, similar, just as a lot of other people, or a lot of other companies. Sorry. When you look around on our farms, then there is a lot of activity going on in terms of buildings and the like. So we are expanding as we speak, and that means that we need a lot of carpenters, electricians and the like, and a lot of people do fortunately need workforce at the moment. So we are in the business of getting the best possible partners, but also getting the best possible employees.
I understand, but when the person wants to apply to a new job, the most important question for everybody, it is a salary.
Yes.
What is the average salary in your company?
Salary, together with a lot of other things, are extremely important for us. We understand that people are obviously not coming for free or because of a good lunch. We, again, work with a wide range of different employees and different skill sets, and therefore also different salary levels. So talking about an average salary is maybe not the right way of doing it. So I would rather say that minimum salary coming in, that's approximately 16,000 as it is right now.
Thank you. In communication of your company, you claim that your pigs is another from ours because they have Danish genes. Yeah? Yes. What it means and how are they different? So
pigs and genetics is a big thing. We need to make sure that it's the best possible pigs, producing the right amount of meat and fat, so to speak. So we have always worked with the Danish genetics. Danish genetics is the best in the world, so that's also what we want to be, the best in the world. And that's why we have historically always worked with Danish genetics.
Do you know how much does one pig cost?
Yeah, I know every week what a pig costs, and that's of course very important for us because that's our primary revenue. Pig prices, that's also a commoditized business, so prices are changing every week. So maybe this week the price per kilo is 65, and next week it might be 75.
Why? What factors influence on this price?
Supply and demand. That's the simple answer. But as we can see outside right now, we have more or less skipped spring. We have gone to 25 degrees, and that means that you might be doing saslik this weekend. And instead of eating oats, then you would like to eat sausages or meat instead. And that means that suddenly there is a bigger demand for pigs, and that could mean that prices are going up. When we see Easter celebration, Christmas celebrations and the like, that's the same. So there is, of course, a big demand pattern in this. So when demand is going up, then prices are going up as well.
The GoodValley Group has some farms in Poland.
Correct.
Where it is easy to operate this business, in Poland or in Ukraine, and where it is easy to build a farm, because I know that in Ukraine a lot of people could be against a new farm, a new construction. There was a lot of moment that people get this information with, oh, we don't want anything in our territory.
Yes, and that's part of our business model, that our license to operate, that is that we are accepted by the villages or the communities around the farm. One thing is that we provide working places to the local communities, but of course there is also transportation, there are also a lot of other things, so it has an impact on the areas around us. So we do a big due diligence process. We interact with the villages, of course the politicians, but also the people living in the villages to try to understand or to tell them and make them understand where we are coming from, what we are bringing to the community in terms of workplaces, taxes, and the like. So it's very important for us to enter into a dialogue to ensure that we get the right support before we start anywhere.
In Poland, the same situation, yes?
Yeah, that's more or less the same business model, but the details are significantly different. That even though it's neighboring countries, then we see big differences between the two countries.
I remember a situation that was maybe 2 years ago when one company wanted to build a new farm near villages Konyushke and Nastashino, not far from here, and people was really against of it. They blocked a road and they had a big argument that after building a farm there are unpleasant odor because of pigs, yeah, and they didn't allow to do it. Did you have some situation like this? How do you solve them?
We have not had specific situations like that during my employment, but we have a lot of conversations and discussions with the villagers to make sure they understand what is happening. So it's not a secret what is happening behind the fence. So they understand what our business is all about. We do that through conversations with meetings, but also through our ambassadors. Our most important ambassadors, that's our colleagues. Because they usually live in the village and they can tell the story what's happening inside the fence, so to speak. On top of that, and to get local buy-in, we also have a social fund. So we, on a yearly basis, have social projects together with the villages to make sure that we come with something to them in a very transparent way, so they can apply for means, so they can build a new playground or similar. So that's a way to lift our social responsibility in the villages.
Kasper, you said that you try to explain the people what is benefit to work with you. You tell that you communicate with the people. Did you have the personal meeting with the leaders of communities? Because I know you have a farm in Halych, Kalush, Dubove, Rohatyn communities, yeah? Did you meet with their leaders?
Yeah, we have 10 different farms, so it is full-time jobs to meet with the formal and informal leaders in the communities. And we have a whole team who does that on an ongoing basis. Not necessarily to fix problems, but to ensure that we have the conversations that problems do not occur. That we inform people of what's happening, what is up and down. And that's something I participate once in a while. Unfortunately, I cannot participate in all the meetings, but I have some excellent colleagues who do a great job in communicating with the politicians, but also with the villagers.
What your colleagues can say about the cooperation with leaders of communities? With whom cooperation is the most effective? What they say?
There are big differences, but when you visit 2, 3, 4 different villages in Ukraine, there is not one village which is like the other one. So as people are different, so are the politicians and the decision makers in the villages. So everything is different, but that's also what makes our job interesting. That the challenges we have, they are not the same as they were yesterday. So I don't think I can say who's the most efficient or the easiest to work with. We all see them as partners, and very important partners. We cannot dictate anything in the local communities. That's up to the people and the politicians. So that's why we see them as partners.
Sometimes I read some comments on social media, and I read there that your company irrigates some chemicals on the fields, and that's why people had headache or stomach problems or something like that. It is myth or truth?
That's a myth. Everything we use on fields and elsewhere, that is, so the plant protection is certified. It's documented what we use. It's living up to the standards Ukraine has. We have the highest possible standards you can meet, and that's important for us to do. So if there are cases, then of course we take the discussions, but we can also document that the things we use are proper and the right way to do it.
Kasper, how you dispose of dead pigs? Because I think that you have this situation when little pigs can die or can get some sick or something like that. How disposal going on?
Yeah, that's back to rules and regulations that we live up to the various vet regulatives which are in Ukraine. So for us, there are two options. That is to burn the pigs, and that's done in proper dead pig burners, it's called. So that's done on the farm, so it doesn't leave the farm. Secondly, we also have farms where other certified companies pick up the pigs and dispose them on our behalf. So everything is done as per the rules and regulations, and that is governed by the local vets and the oblast vets.
Maybe 2 or 3 years ago you had a big accident, you had a fire on your farm and a lot of pigs died in this fire. So what you did with them?
It's a little bit similar, that when things like that happen, then we are to engage in discussions with the vet authorities, and the vet authorities, they come with regulations on how we should dispose the animals, and that we live up to when things like that unfortunately happens.
Large companies such as GoodValley Ukraine have to show should show responsibility to the people where they operate. Yeah. What about you? How you show your responsibility, corporate responsibility, to the people?
Yeah. So there are a lot of different elements in corporate social responsibility. One thing is that we ensure that all our colleagues are on contracts, they're paid a fair salary, and through that taxes are paid locally. So there is nothing happening in terms of an envelope or similar. Everything is done per the book. Secondly, then we pay our corporate and local taxes to ensure that we chip in to the good of Ukraine. When we then look at our indirect partners, such as the villages and the like, as I said, then we have a social fund where we every year channel money through that fund. Through that fund, people and communities can apply for projects, being playgrounds, new roof for the school, different courses and similar. And that's a way where we try to play our role in the local communities. Then there is a lot of indirect involvement. Of course, we want our colleagues to be ambassadors.
Kasper, you are from Denmark, you are European, but you work with Ukrainian people and with Ukrainian mentality. What are some moments that was surprised for you, or looks a little bit weird because of our mentality?
I think the biggest surprise has obviously been seen over the last 26 months, where the Ukrainian mentality is a beacon of light for the whole world. That we can really see that Ukrainians are first and foremost suffering on a lot of people's behalf, but secondly also doing a tremendous job. We can see that all our production KPIs and similar, they have been lifted tremendously over the last 2 years. And that's just underlining the mentality of the Ukrainians, that people are extremely dedicated, people are extremely hardworking, and people are extremely proud of being Ukrainian, but also making a difference. Again, we are producing protein for the Ukrainian people, and our colleagues can see that. So I don't know whether that's a surprise, but that has just been underlined over the last 2 years. I've just visited a few of my colleagues in the stable this morning, and just see their dedication and their hard work. That is truly inspiring for me.
But you said about only positive side. Maybe you saw something negative in our mentality.
Not, I wouldn't say negative in any way, but there are a lot of, let's say, cultural differences.
Yeah. For example,
when I try to shake my colleague's hand when we go through the door, and he panics completely because you cannot do that through the door. If I forget to wear a hat outside when it's extremely cold and people look at me like I'm an idiot. And when we talk about children, that my children sleep outside when it's ice cold, then people look at me like I'm a weirdo. But it's only interesting things which are making me a little bit smarter about the Ukrainian people. And again, Ukraine is a massive country, and there are so many differences in Ukraine. So it's just every time I'm in Ukraine, every time I speak with Ukrainians, I learn something new, and that's truly inspiring.
I read your biography, and I read there that you worked in Africa more than 5 years, yes?
Yeah.
Where is better to work, in Africa or in Ukraine?
I have lived in Kenya, and I have lived in Ghana, and that's special countries. They are countries which are close to my heart. But of course, Ukraine is the closest as it is at the moment, because especially what the Ukrainian people have gone through over the last years and going through as we speak right now. So Ukraine is really on the top of my list, and also for my family. So Ukraine is truly special.
I'm very pleased to hear it.
Yeah.
Danish happiness. Can you explain what is it, and within our Prykarpattian communities touched to this Danish happiness at least a little, thanks to you?
Yeah, so Danish happiness is maybe a weird thing to explain. I think it's easier to experience. Of course, for a lot of Ukrainians, it's difficult to go to Denmark at the moment. But fortunately, I have a lot of colleagues who have been to Denmark several times, and I think it's an atmosphere and it's a feeling that you need to feel it. There are a lot of socio-economic factors going into that. We have a big security net in terms of social security, so people are fairly safe. If you lose your job, you are still somewhat safe. You don't need to leave your house or be afraid that your family will not eat that month, if we can put it to an extreme. So there is a big social security net in Denmark, which I believe is a positive factor. But of course, that's something which has developed over many years. So we trust the system, even though we can be frustrated, even though we can be very angry with our politicians, then in the end of the day, we trust people around us. So I think it comes very much from trust, and that's also something we are trying to build in this company, that we trust each other. So we try to combine the best forces from Ukraine with Danish mentality.
Is here in these walls Danish happiness?
Sorry?
These walls.
I think there is, but it's maybe not for me to say that. That would more be for my colleagues. I have 7 Danish colleagues working here together with all our Ukrainian colleagues. So I think our Ukrainian colleagues are affected by the Danish happiness, but our Danish colleagues are affected by the Ukrainian mentality and the Ukrainian power. So it goes hand in hand, so it's the best of the two worlds.
I understand, Kasper, that you have a very tight schedule. You work in 2 countries, yeah? And what can you say, and how can you estimate your work-life balance?
Yeah, fortunately, I'm married to my wife Julie, but I'm also married to my work. So it goes hand in hand. So she has accepted that I have a second wife called Goodvalley. And that means that I have the opportunity to go to Ukraine every second, every third week. So that's I guess when you go to work, it might be a 30 minutes commute or the like. For me, it takes 12 hours to go to the office. So that's how I do it. But for me, that's trying to strike that balance. That when I'm here, then I obviously work a lot. When I'm at home, it's more meetings online, trying to support our organization in the best possible way. So it's a bit of a symbiosis that try to do everything with the few hours we have at hand.
Do you have some hobbies in your life?
Well, my hobbies, other than my job and my family, my wife and 3 children, that's very much football. I love football, and that's. I think that's one of the things I couldn't live without. That's a little bit frustrating for my family once in a while, because there are at least 90 minutes every week where I insist of being at the stadium or being in front of the TV.
So do you like to watch our football, Ukrainian, our football team, Shakhtar, Dynamo?
You could say that my relationship with Ukrainian football goes back to I think 96 or so, where my club Brøndby, and Brøndby's colors, that is yellow and blue, so that's the right colors these days. It's both my football team and obviously Ukraine. But in '96, Brøndby knocked out Dynamo Kiev of the Champions League qualification, and that's the only time they reached Champions League. And of course, there have been a lot of times afterwards where Shakhtar and Dynamo Kiev and others have been in the Champions League. So I remember Ukrainian football from back then, and then of course all the big superstars coming from Ukraine to Shevchenko up until today, where Dubove have been playing in the Danish league in the past. So yeah, I like Ukrainian football.
Kasper, you are a high-level manager, and I'm sure that after our interview, you can inspire a lot of managers. So what you can recommend to read them? What books do you like?
Oh, that's a big question, but I think what I like to read about is purpose, and I know it might be a little bit commercial, but of course there is Simon Sinek, where he focuses on the purpose, on the why, and I think that's important for all of us, regardless of where you work in an organization, to understand what is your purpose. Then secondly, that's of course a Danish book, but that talks very much about never go. You should always be hungry. You should always be hungry for more, and I think that
like an artist.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that echoes the mentality we see in this company. That every day people want to do a little bit better than yesterday, and especially after the escalation of the war, people are just being more hungry. They want to improve the processes. They want to improve the production results every day, and I think that's a big inspiration for me.
So, comfort zone is not good, yeah?
Not really. I like to get out of my comfort zone, and we spoke a little bit about the Ukrainian language before we started filming, and that's really getting out of my comfort zone. That I need to be in a lot of meetings where my Ukrainian is for sure not good enough, but also working with other cultures, and I think that's what I like, working with the Ukrainian culture, if we can say it's one culture. That's really getting out of your comfort zone. But when you get out of your comfort zone, you get a little bit better today, and you can use that tomorrow.
Kasper, you bring here from Denmark approach of business. Yeah, you bring here your colleagues from Denmark. You bring here some methods of operating business. Yeah, what can you take from us to Denmark? What do you like here the most?
The focus and really the heart, mind and soul. That you really bring your soul into work, that there is a huge dedication in the work. If you look at averages, our Ukrainian colleagues do. It's really hard dedication and hard work. I think we can really learn from that. But not just hard work as being your hands. It's also a mind which really comes up with great ideas for improvement, and we see a great authorship and we see a great ownership from our colleagues. And it's so clear that when I come with something I believe is a great idea and place it on somebody's table, it never happens. But if I see my colleagues, when they come with other ideas or similar ideas and they bring it forward, then they own the ideas and they bring that to the finish line. So
a lot of your colleagues from Denmark came here to develop business, but found happiness.
Yes.
They found here wives. Your wife is Ukrainian or not?
No, my wife is not Ukrainian, and I proposed that getting a Ukrainian wife would be better for my Ukrainian skills, but that was not supported by her. But I can see that from a lot of my colleagues that they found a great job. But more importantly, they found a wife and later on children in Ukraine. So, yeah.
Are they happy?
They are very happy, and I think that's what it's all about. So a lot of most of our colleagues, our Danish colleagues, they have been here 6, 10, 14 years because Ukraine is home now.
How do you think? Why Ukrainian women like Danish men and vice versa?
I think we should ask the Ukrainian women and the Danish men who got married. I cannot say what the absolute reason is for it, but there is apparently a good match between the two. So yeah.
What place do you like to visit here?
I think the biggest memory I have so far that is going to the mountains. I think that is Ukraine is not the popular holiday destination for Danish people, but I was so fortunate to bring my family before the war escalated and really showed them Lviv and showed them the mountains and showed them Ivano-Frankivsk. So it's a little bit about everything. It's really an amazing country where I'm really looking forward to the day where more people can see how truly impressive Ukraine is. So if I could choose something, that is to go to the mountains and look at the hilltops and look at the trees.
Maybe you have plans to take your family and come here to live?
That would be amazing. That's really that could be a great dream, and I'm looking forward to the day where that is possible.
Oh, great. Okay, let's return to work topics.
Yeah.
So you, GoodValley Ukraine works in Ukrainian reality.
Yes.
How can you estimate the protection of our government? It's easy and comfort to work here, to manage here, in our political and legislative sphere.
Regardless of what's happening, then we need to respect that there is a war going on, and the government is under immense pressure, both the central government, but obviously also the various local governments. And we have the highest respect for that. We're also 2 years into the war now, so we also hope that we can start to look a little bit at the businesses. We are here to rebuild Ukraine as well. We are running a business, but we want to participate in rebuilding Ukraine. Rebuilding Ukraine is not happening the day the war is over. Hopefully that's soon, but it will not happen that day. It should start today. And that's where we need our local politicians to make sure that environmental permits, building permits and similar, that happens faster. Because we are here. We are ready to rebuild Ukraine, but we need support from local governments as well.
How are Ukrainians supported in Denmark? And do your fellow citizens have an understanding of our real situation?
That's a difficult question. First and foremost, I have a feeling that Ukrainians in Denmark that's a positive story, if we can call it that. Ukrainians are extremely helpful, they're extremely dedicated, and even though it's due to a very severe background, then people come to work, they come to make a difference, they don't want to lean back and just enjoy the system. So Ukrainians as a whole, that's really positive in Denmark. Before the war, I think we had 14,000 Ukrainians working in Denmark. Yeah. So it is common to know Ukrainians in Denmark in the workplace. So it's not uncommon for Danish people to work and interact with Ukrainians. For me, the focus on Ukraine is too small. For me, it's the only thing we should talk about in the news, and then everything else doesn't really matter, because it's such an immense pressure on the Ukrainian population, and Ukraine is just fighting a war for us Danes, but also Europeans and the world as a whole. So for me, there should be significantly more focus. So I hope the focus will be there in the news, but I also hope that all weapons, all ammunition, but also money to rebuild the country will come rather sooner than later.
Situation in the front line nowadays is very unclear. What is your strategic vision of your company for the future?
That is to continue. It's not an option to stop. We are here because we believe that running a business in Ukraine is the right thing to do. We have not hesitated a second since the war escalated. We have 6 of our colleagues who have paid the ultimate price. They're not here anymore. And due to them and all the other Ukrainians, we cannot stop. So our ambition as a company, that is to continue to rebuild Ukraine, but also increasing our business in Ukraine.
Your answer is really inspiring me. You told that you help our soldiers with the meal. Tell about it more.
First and foremost, our business model is that we produce pigs and sell pigs. And the soldiers, just as the population, need protein. So the pigs we sell, that goes to slaughterhouses. On top of that, then of course we support the soldiers indirectly by giving pigs to NGOs and similar. We have, among others, given 25 tons of pig meat, which are then canned and sent to the soldiers to ensure that assisting them to help to win the war against the Russians. I would like to say that of course doing business is the most important thing we can do in order to keep Ukraine provided with protein, and of course also ensure that taxes are paid. But on the other hand, and back to the social responsibility, we have collected approximately 30 million in Denmark, which we are spending on social projects. We are spending that on some luggage from the war or the like, and also to ensure that veterans are taken care of. We believe that there is a lot of work in front of us to take care of the veterans coming back with physical and mental injuries, and we need to make sure that we play a role as an employer, that we can invite veterans and have a good working place for them, but also making sure that rehabilitation happens locally, so they do not sit and just be themselves and be ignored in the future. So there is a big role to play for us, but also the community around us.
Kasper, in June it's gonna be 20 years from the beginning of this company here in Ukraine. Yeah. What can you say about this big date, and do you proud of all of this that you create here, company?
So the 4th of June we have been here for 20 years, and we are ready for at least 20 more. So, but of course we respect the times that we're in, so we do not support big celebrations, because there are soldiers, of course, fighting the war while we should have a celebration. So we want to make sure that our colleagues, they understand that it is a big anniversary day for us. So of course we will spoil them a little bit during those days, and then together with our board, our Danish board, they will be in Ukraine and come and congratulate our colleagues with those impressive efforts they have done over the last 20 years. We have 8 colleagues who have been here for 20 years, and I'm extremely proud of especially those 8 colleagues. Of course we have 600 others who are also doing an immense job, but it's really impressive to see that we have 8 of our best colleagues who have been here since day one. So that's really impressive. Then we will also have an official gathering with the politicians and the like, where we would like to thank them for the cooperation during the last many years, but of course also with our customers and suppliers and the like.
Kasper, thank you for this conversation. Thank you for this interview. And finally, what can you wish our viewers and your colleagues?
The top thing I can wish everybody in Ukraine, that's victory. That's the most important thing, and the first thing we should talk about. The day where Ukraine will win the war, that day will happen. We hope it'll happen rather sooner than later, but that's really what I would like to wish everybody. Secondly, then of course good health and a great future for everyone.
Thank you. Дякую.
Дякую.